Alrighty guys, it's Mrs. Walk. I'm going to do a quick review over Section 9.1. Section 9.1 covered the circumference of a circle, area of a circle, and then the last section was on the area of composite shapes. So a couple of reminders. Circumference of a circle. Circumference is the outside or the perimeter of a circle. The diameter is the distance across the circle going through the center point. The radius is the distance halfway across the circle. And pi is the ratio of the circumference to the diameter. Our formula for circumference is when the circumference equals diameter times pi, or because 2 radius equal 1 diameter, I could also say circumference equals 2 times the radius times pi. And down here at the bottom of this slide shows you the two formulas. Remember, we mostly have been using pi as 3.14. Again, continue to use 3.14 when you're looking at pi. Otherwise, you can use the pi key in your calculator. Where does the area formula come from? The long story short, basically we took a circle, we rearranged it, made it look like a like a parallelogram. Once it was a parallelogram, we know parallelograms are base times height. So then we had to kind of think about what's the base actually equal, what does the height actually equal, and we come up with the formula area equals pi times the radius squared. Remember, radius squared and 2 times the radius are different. Radius squared equals the radius times the radius, whereas 2 times the radius is the same thing as radius plus radius. Common mistake that we see a lot of students make sure you're paying attention to the difference. You would use 2 times the radius in a circumference formula, radius squared always for the area formula. Lastly, the area of our composite shapes. Anytime we have a composite shape, we want to find the area of each individual smaller figure and then add them up. One thing to make note of or to try and remember is sometimes our figures could be something that we could add and then take off. For example, if I had a shape like this and I had a missing piece, I might find the area of the whole rectangle and then subtract out this missing piece. That's okay. So you find the whole area and then subtract the missing piece. That works. For the example that I have on this slide, I'm going to have to find the area of 3 different shapes. I'm going to have to find the area of a rectangle, and my rectangle looks like it's going to be 10 by 16. I'm going to have to find the area of a triangle, which that bottom part of the triangle, if this part is 16 and this part is 20, it's going to be 20 minus 16 or 4. So my base is 4. And then the left side here, I know the whole side of my rectangle is 10. If this much takes up 6, that means this part of my triangle is going to take up 4. And then the last thing I'm going to have to find is the area of half of a circle. So I only need to know what half of it is, and it does have a diameter of 16. So let's start with the easiest one, which is probably area of a rectangle. Base times height for area of a rectangle, or 10 times 16 is 160. Area of a triangle would be half base times height, or base times height 4 times 4 and then divide by 2. 4 times 4 is 16, divided by 2 would be 8. And then the area of a circle, area of my circle is pi r squared. So then I'm going to have 3.14 times the diameter is 16, so the radius is half of that, which is 8. So 8 times 8, and then 3.14, 8 times 8 is 64. So I don't know what that is offhand. So I'm going to grab my calculator from my phone, and I have 3.14 times 64, which equals 200.96. We've been talking a lot about rounding to the nearest tenth. That's the first place value, guys. So on the first place value, look to the right. It's greater than 5, so I'm going to round that up, which actually in turn bumps up my ones place. So if I was going to round this, I would call this 201. Now I can add up my areas. So I have 160 from my rectangle. I have 8 from my triangle and 201 from my half. Whoops. I have half circle, so I don't have 201. I need to take that 201 and divide it by 2. So 201 divided by 2 is 100.5. So I'm going to use 100.5 because remember, this was for my full circle. I only have half of it. So that's where I get 100.5. So then I have 100.5. Grab a calculator or add it up. So I have 8, 6, 2.5. So my total area would be 268.5. In this case, it looks like centimeters squared. 7th graders, if you have questions or I went too fast or you're not sure, rewatch this part of the video or send me an email, send me a Google chat. Let me know how I can help you. After you finish watching this video, your next task is going to be to go back to Google Classroom, access task 3 under today's date, and then complete the 9.1 resource page. When you get to the 9.1 resource page, you're going to see this is your first work slide. All of these yellow boxes, you're actually going to click in and you're going to be able to type into them. So when you're working, all you need to do is click on the slides and then type whatever you think the answer is. So in this case, if the diameter is 44, the radius is half the diameter, 44 divided by 2 would be 22 centimeters. And then I can get in and start talking about circumference equals diameter times 3.14 or pi. And then I could show my substitution, 44 times 3.14, and I can start showing my math to solve it. If you have questions, if you're unsure, let me know. I'm here. I want to help you guys. I like seeing you guys because I don't get to do it very often anymore. So take care, and I will talk to you later. Bye.